Okay. All right. We are live. I want to thank everyone for taking some time out of your day to come visit myself. It's awesome. Like this stream, the title of the stream says, this is a serious panel. This is not the normal levity, have fun type of shit. Um, it's a serious issue, and it rings a lot of truth to myself. Um, I have one grandchild that is confirmed autistic. I have another one that is suspected, but still waiting on results of that to confirm whether or not that is the truth. But I also have two nephews that are confirmed autistic. One high functioning, and one is the epitome of autistic. No verbal communication. Grunts and groans and guttural sounds, for the most part, is the way the communication is done with my oldest with that particular nephew. Um, he will come up randomly out of the blue and just grab your hand and try and lead you somewhere. And I admit, I 100% admit, I will never deny it. The very first time that happened to me, I was kind of taken back. It's like I wanted to just like pull away, because that was uncommon to me. I didn't know what to think of it. So yeah, so it was a natural reaction. Um, but I'm talking about my middle grandson, and it's a very well established fact that government has no opportunity or no obligation to defend you. Um, well, at least as far as cops go, that's a given. They're not obligated to defend you. They're not obligated to protect you. But we're talking about schools, and we're talking about children. Schools are a publicly funded system. I'm sorry, it's like, do I call them a business? Schools receive government funding, so they are publicly owned. So, are they under any legal obligation to protect our children? Because if so, I have. Well, let me start. Let me restart this. Surviving six.
Yep.
That is my daughter. That is my daughter. For those of you that are not aware, that is my daughter. My daughter has six children. 3 boys born first, 3 girls born second. My middle grandson is the one that it relates to. We're not going to mention any names. We're not going to mention names because we don't want that information being out there. But we are basically discussing my middle grandson. Um, he is autistic. He is confirmed autistic. The school that he is attending is aware that he is autistic. And yet, just recently, they lost track of him. They did not know where he was. Now we're gonna disregard the fact that my oldest grandson, when he was in first grade, he was attending a school, and he was able to walk out the front doors of the school he was attending, which is right beside a highway, and get up right to the street. And they still did not know he was out. So, are they under any obligation to protect our children? Because if not, I'm thinking public schools are a fucking joke.
That's kind of what I'm thinking at this point.
And we will disregard all the headlines about school shootings. We'll put that aside. Because God knows when that happens, they ain't going to protect our kids. Even the cops won't do it from time to time. Because it's like, oh no, I've got my own shit to worry about.
Well, see, So here's the thing. When they lost the middle boy this week, it happened to be, I don't remember if it was the exact same day or around. Either way, this week, they lost him, combined with the fact that several Oregon schools shut down this week, and they were put on a lockdown because of threats of shooting. So that happened either the same day or within just a day or two of them losing the middle boy. And I brought it to their attention, like, if I can't trust you to keep my child safe going from one class to another, how can I trust you to keep him safe if they're in the event that there is a major situation like a school shooting or, you know, something big, catastrophic? How can I guarantee that you're going to keep my kid safe if you can't even keep track of where he is and isn't?
Right. And on that note, I understand that schools have a limited staff. They are way outnumbered by children. That's
I
a given.
understand.
That is an absolute given. School staff is way outnumbered by children in attendance. There's no way that every child can be kept track of 20 or throughout the course of their day. I was going to say 24/7, but no, that's incorrect because they're not in charge of the child 24/7.
Right.
But they only have them for a limited time. And them being outnumbered, yeah, it's damn near impossible for them to keep track of every single child throughout the time that they have them. That's understood. Right. But when you have children with special needs, those are the ones that need to be paid attention to because their brain does not work the same as every other child that you're dealing with. So you need to pay closer attention to those children.
That's exactly the point I tried to make to the school.
Understandably, those children, as they grow up and they get more vocal, they might decide that, no, I don't want you to treat me special. I want you to treat me like you treat everybody else. But this is a child we're talking about. They're not at that point yet to where they can make the decision for themselves. Pay attention to these children. Now, if you know you have these children in your presence in your classrooms, you make sure you pay attention to them without singling them out. Because they might, for whatever reason, not welcome it. They might not welcome the extra doodling that you pay, but they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not asking too much. It's not asking you to step outside your comfort zone and take them by the hand and lead them from one class to the other. But maybe you get in communication with if they have to move between classrooms, maybe you pick up a phone and call the teacher whose classroom they're going to and say, hey, we're gonna send this child your way. Keep an eye out. And make sure that shit's taken care of. Make sure you don't lose children.
That's where I was at with the school today when I had the meeting with them. Their response was that my child does not go to this particular class by himself. He goes with about 5 to 6 other students. I'm like, okay, that's nice that he has peers to take him to these classes. But then they said that they make it the other student's responsibility to make sure that my child gets to the class he's supposed to be going to, which I, for one, do not feel is appropriate for the schools to determine that. If they have a special needs child that they know has a hard time getting from point A to point B safely without getting lost or sidetracked, any of the above, then they should have an aide escorting him from point A to point B. Even hold on. Grab some of those on the table. Sorry. I brought it to their attention, and I'm just like, this is, to me, doesn't seem A, fair to the other students or my child, and B, safe, because my child has a tendency to, as a lot of autistic kids do, get aggravated when being told to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah, and here's like another suggestion that you might relay to people in charge at their school. Since Thomas, or since, don't want to
Okay.
mention the name, since the oldest one attends the same school, maybe have his teacher dismiss him like 2 minutes ahead of schedule to where he can go get the one we're discussing and make sure he gets to his next classroom.
Well, that being said, the oldest one isn't on an IEP, an individualized education plan for a learning disability, and that can be considered discrimination in some forms because he is on an IEP with a disability, and that's not inclusive to the other students. And I understand there's a lot of red tape that the schools have to go through, but to blatantly, honestly neglect a student, knowing that that student in particular has a lifelong disability, like it's not something he's going to get over, it's not something he's going to recover from, it's not something he's going to outgrow, it is going to impact him for the rest of his life.
And it's not something he willfully was given.
Yeah, no,
It was just luck of the draw.
exactly.
And you know what? As far as luck of the draw goes, I'm the lucky one because he's my grandson.
Oh, I absolutely feel lucky. That kid is, he's the sweetest, kindest, smartest little thing ever. But on the flip side, he is very naive to the way the world works and how things operate. And when they dropped him off, I didn't know that he was being dropped off. I was under the assumption, because of the letter I received on Friday, that he would be attending the after-school program with his siblings, which means he's not going to get home until roughly 6 to 6:15 p.m. I was asleep with the younger two, and I heard a ring on the doorbell. Or, I heard the doorbell ring.
Was he supposed to be in that after school program, or was there a misunderstanding on somebody's behalf?
So, from my understanding, the letter that was sent home with him on Friday stated that after President's Day, he would be attending on Tuesday the after-school program. They sent out an email Friday, which the teacher admitted she did not completely read the email and missed that the middle child was supposed to be attending with the rest of his siblings.
Right. Okay. Well, since it's out there, my oldest grandson, his name is Thomas. My middle grandson, his name is William. That's out there, so we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. That being said, his teacher admitted that she did not completely read the email, and so she just sent him home because she didn't want to take the time to double check the email before sending him home. They did not call me to inform me that they were sending him home.
Okay, and was that email sent to her in her capacity as a teacher?
Yes.
Regarding one of her students? So
yes, it
that
was.
Is definitely something that she needs to take advisement of, and she needs to be aware of. It's not something you say, oh, well, I just didn't take the time. Well, no, this is your job. This is what you're being paid to do. This is your job. You need to make sure you're aware of your job. You are in one of those luxurious positions to where your job can change slightly from day to day.
Right, and that
You
being
need to make
said,
sure you're reading your company emails, heeding the information that is being given, and taking the appropriate actions. There is no excuse for not doing your job, because if I don't do my job, I'm going to get fired.
That's
Straight
exactly
up.
it. If I don't do my job as a parent, for lack of better words, I get fired and my kids get taken from me. So if the teacher doesn't do her job and take care of the children that she is in care of, or cares for, she should be reprimanded. And in a simple, oh, I'm sorry, mistakes happen, that's not a simple mistake. I live by a very major highway. My child, who is not very aware of the world surrounding him, could have easily wandered down the road to the interstate looking for my car.
Yeah, and case in point, I'm not going to mention any names, but I have a buddy that lives on that same road. In fact, 2 houses down from my daughter. He had, a chocolate lab named Hershey, and Hershey wandered off and got struck by a car on that same highway. So yeah, it happens.
is a very busy highway, and I've actually had issues where I've contacted the bus barn regarding the buses not stopping at the stop sign and turning onto the highway. I've had the bus drivers not make sure that all of my children are seated before taking off.
Creole, welcome. Will the Finger Do, welcome. Ohio Steve, welcome. But yeah, it is a major highway that runs through where they live. They're at freeway speeds, or actually highway speeds. Highway speeds are a little bit different. Speed limit at the area that intersection is, or that highway is 55.
Yes, but very frequently people fly through here at 60 to 70. There are so many accidents that occur just not even a mile down the road from me.
Sweetheart, trust me. Speed limit only hinders old people. It only hinders senior citizens. You get, if you're in your 50s or younger, you're not doing the speed limit. You're doing above.
All right.
Trust me, I know. I can speak firsthand on that. I don't do the speed limit. I'm always 5 over minimum.
Right. That being said, like I said earlier, there, just down the road, not even a mile from me, are several accidents every year. Heck, even every month. The corner of the intersection where I live, there's a memorial for someone that had passed away due to an accident right there. And this is part of the reason I'm also talking to the school about getting him on a special education bus, because then he will be seated and possibly in a chair with proper restraint harnesses for children in cars or vehicles. And the school has also told me that he does not qualify to ride that bus.
Just to address Watcher in chat, yes, Watcher, I have made mistakes at work, but my mistakes never endangered anybody's life, okay? Never put anybody at risk.
It's one thing to make a mistake, it's another thing to completely lose a child and or not make the parents aware that the child is not where he was supposed to be at.
Yeah, and put yourself in that same situation, everyone. Just try and take a minute. Say that you were looking for your child, and the school where your child was, they have no clue where he's at. What would you do? What would your reaction be? How adamant would you feel? Because this is what my daughter is dealing with. This is what I'm dealing with as a grandparent. My grandkids get lost. Fuck yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to irritate me. It's going to upset me. Absolutely, it's going to. When they get sent to you by a school bus, I'm sorry, you automatically gain responsibility of them. If you lose track of them, when you're being paid to keep track of them, you're failing miserably at your job. You're not just failing, you're failing miserably. If you cannot keep track of these children that we send to you, should you really be in your position, or should your government funding be taken away? There's got to be some middle ground there.
I mean, all of that being said, when I called the school to question them why he was at home and not at the after school program, when I just said, my kid's last name, and they're like, "Oh no, the youngest boy is here." And I was like, I'm not talking about the youngest boy. I'm talking about the middle boy. The youngest boy and the oldest boy have been attending since they started school there. It was the middle boy and the youngest or the oldest daughter had just started on Tuesday. And I'm like, you guys have got the complete wrong child. I know he's there. Why is this one particular child not where he's supposed to be? And why wasn't I notified that he wasn't going to be there? Because honestly, I wasn't planning on being home. School gets out at, I think, 3:10. After school program puts them home at about 6 to 6:15, which gives me ample time to go run errands before they get home or go to doctor's appointments in the afternoon when I have just the youngest two with me. The only reason I wasn't at appointments that I was scheduled to be at that day was because of car problems. That was the only thing that had me at home when he got home.
And thankfully that happened.
I'm so thankful that happened.
Because being that close to the highway, nobody being home, the only place that he knew to be, and would he sit there and wait? Or would he wander off and try and entertain himself?
He probably would have wandered off.
Highway, I'm sorry, but that's scary. That is absolutely scary.
It was absolutely terrifying, and the school's response was, well, mistakes happen. Well, I understand, yes, mistakes happen. That's kind of an almost inexcusable thing when it was just a complete lack of the teacher's ability to do her job properly. And I'm not the only parent in the area that's had issues with this particular school and issues pertaining kids and their safety.
Okay, so it comes down to, like I mentioned to you on the phone earlier, sweetheart. Send him to school with a body cam, and then it comes down to like the legalities of that. Schools are a public place. There is Supreme Court has ruled there is no reasonable expectation of privacy in a public place. Schools are a public place. What could a video cam? What could a body cam record? Anything in a public place that the eyes can see. 2018 memo from DHS, Department of Homeland Security, says you're allowed to record public officials in the scope of their capacities of employment. So, to me, that indicates that, yeah, you can send them to school with a body cam in a public place, recording public officials, i.e., teachers, in the scope of their capabilities, their employment, with no repercussions.
That
It
being
might
said, I
come
mean,
down,
most schools do have security cameras or at least some kind of video
yeah,
surveillance
and
system.
if they do have cameras at that particular school, that footage can be FOIA requested.
At this point, I'm kind of considering that route because
But the problem with that is, since they control those cameras, they control what gets recorded, what gets deleted.
yeah,
Body cam footage, any sort of recording device that they have no control over, they cannot do that. That's why police body cams are so redacted to where 1A auditors, they request that body cam footage, and they're so redacted, they're so blocked out, there's so much stuff missing. Not to mention the fact that government is in control of those cameras. They can straight up delete footage. They can say, "Oh, the camera wasn't active." Yeah, because they have control. Get a camera out of their control, it all changes. It's amazing what cameras out of government's control can actually record. Because apparently, government owned cameras can't record shit. They just seem to break. They seem to lose audio, seem to come up missing. It's, it's just amazing. But I think contact the school, inform them, hey, I have an autistic child. I don't think you're doing your job accordingly to accommodate my autistic child. Therefore, I am going to put a body cam on my child to where I can view what he encompasses throughout the course of his day. And
see,
since you are government employees, since you are funded by government, you are government employees. If you touch that body cam, if you do anything to destroy what that body cam collects, then you're in violation of federal law, according to DHS. Memo 2018.
Well, so there, I could go about it that way. The thing is, there's also this. I have the ability to go into the school myself and just attend his classes with them and reinforce the fact that I don't A, trust them to do their jobs to keep my children safe, and B, provide a fair and appropriate education. I mean, how is it fair to an autistic child to feel unsafe in a school that is supposed to be making him feel safe and providing him an education? He doesn't feel safe walking from one class to another. He's afraid he's going to get lost.
It is well documented that government officials have no training in dealing with people that have mental issues. I can recall 3 videos that got posted online on YouTube this week. Cops called to deal with people with schizophrenia. Guess what? Three mental health issue patients dead. That's their training.
See, and that's one of my biggest fears. Like, he's not a violent kid. He does have outbursts. He has reactive behavior to certain situations and certain stimulations, and that's that.
Well, yeah, we're talking. I was talking about cops, men with guns, men with badges who think they're above the law. You and I are talking about school officials, and my fear with that is he's gonna react because of his autism, and he's gonna lash out, and he's gonna hit a teacher, and the teacher's gonna pummel the fuck out of him.
Well, see, that's I mean, that's one of my concerns, is him being abused by a school official. There's also a concern that if he starts to have reactive behaviors, especially aggressive reactive behaviors, that they could call a school resource officer and he would be in handcuffs, and that's not going to do anything for him but traumatize him. They need
that's going to cause him to become a lot more violent. Even though he's restrained, he's going to become more violent. He's going to really start lashing out.
Mm-hmm.
But people that are not aware of those instances, they will not know anything. And I don't know who Allie is. Allie, bear with me just for 1 second. I got to do this. I got to protect myself. Okay. I'm not ignoring you. Welcome, Allie.
Hi. I promise I will not. I don't even know how to porn bomb. I would never do that ever.
I just never seen you anywhere. So yeah, it's
I'm
just
sometimes in RADAs. Sometimes I'm in RADAs, if anything. But I was listening. I started listening, and I heard her talking about her son who's autistic, who has an IEP and everything. But
he does not actually have an IEP. The school refuses to give him one.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to. Okay, so and I'm just asking because I went through this, and it was a long process. How old is your child?
He just turned 8 in August. We found out in September of 2020, and since then I have been fighting to get him an IEP. I have been downright told he's not autistic enough to qualify for an IEP.
I understand because I went through this too, and and I'm a single mom, and I had to do all of this by myself. All I want to tell you is do not stop. You are the parent. Does he go to a public school?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Oh, Allie, trust me when I tell you this. My daughter will not stop.
No, and I didn't either. I started this process in kindergarten. He is now in 4th grade. However, once you get this, they're going to do like the ETR evaluation, all that kind of stuff. So have you, again, I could talk to you privately about this because I went through
it. It's totally fine.
It was so hard to do this with no guidance of anything. When you go to a public school, they were great. However, to get the process of this takes a long time. So he finally got it at the beginning of 1st grade. And I know exactly like he has major anxiety about a lot of things. So what is the last time that you, I guess, Are you applying through the state or through the school system, or how are you doing it?
So it started out, I was trying to apply through the school system, and back when he was in, I want to say kinder,
Yeah, that's when I started.
he was diagnosed, or no, it might have been in first grade. I'm sorry. I've got 6 kids, so it's a little hard to keep track. Either way, I applied through the school, and they wanted to get him on a 504 because of his medical diagnosis. They said that they had to do their own evaluation of him, which
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you. Did you get a medical? Because that's what they try to do. They try to do the evaluation. Now, have you had him evaluated by like a doctor? My son goes to an
yes,
autism doctor, so you have that diagnosis in writing.
I have the diagnosis in writing
Oh, okay. If
from a
that's
child psychiatrist or
then you
psychologist.
have the power, because it took me a long time. It took me the first process. He had to go get evaluated by this. It was during COVID. He had to go to
Yep.
this pocket place where I had to pay $2,000 to get this diagnosis of autism. However, they did not put it on there. And I've known since my child was little. Again, I had to learn about autism. I didn't know much about it, but I've learned. And they just put like anxiety disorder and dyslexia and I don't even know what else. I'm like, wait a minute. So that didn't really work for me. So finally, I found a doctor we go through the Cleveland Clinic, and she's the head of the autism department. She redid a reevaluation, and autism is now I don't want to say this but in an autistic mother's view, to get autism written on a medical diagnosis is like a golden ticket, because then you do have the power to get your child the best education possible. And it's hard to do, but if you have that on a medical diagnosis from a doctor, they can get sued if they don't accept that. I'm not understanding why they're not accepting it.
And that's what I've been fighting with. My kids have been all over the state of Oregon.
Okay.
And everywhere I have gone to has just wanted to put him on a 504 plan because it's a medical diagnosis. And I said, no.
Same though. It's totally different.
That's the thing is I have 2 other children with 504 plan, one due to ADHD and one due to asthma.
Okay.
And like that is for medical. This is more for like he has needs. He's supposed to be in occupational therapy and physical therapy and ABA. Like he's got all of these services that he qualifies for, but because of COVID, I couldn't get him on disability.
I know what you mean, because it was a process to do this. I had to push and shove, and finally I got the diagnosis. He had the IEP in first grade, and then and the ETR and everything, and they reevaluate this every 3 years. So my son is now going into the 5th grade, which scares the hell out of me, because our elementary school stopped at 4th grade and they go to middle school, which I'm not comfortable with. Like, not at all. So
we have schools around here like that.
Yeah, and I'm looking into a private school. It's a school that is geared toward kids with special needs, whether they're autistic, whether they have a speech impediment, whether they need OT, or whatever it is. It's an amazing school. I'm in the process now of meeting with them because I would rather him go there next year to apply for the grants and stuff. And now that I have that autism diagnosis, I am able to apply for, we have something called the John Peterson Scholarship or the Autism Scholarship. The school's $30,000 a year. But again, I think I'm hoping to God that I qualify for the scholarship, because there's scholarships out there. You just have to find them, and it's hard when you have no guidance.
Right. I
feel your pain. It's awful.
The amount of research I have done just this week, just this week alone is outrageous.
It's like a full-time job. Absolutely. That's what I do, is do the IEP meetings, and he just had. Now, I'll tell you one thing. When you finally do get this IEP and the ETR, you have full control. So I'm looking at this document, and I could literally say, I had his bus stop moved. You can do that too. I don't know what was going on with I didn't catch the whole thing, but my son was having anxiety on the bus. So they reevaluated his IEP and ETR, and they actually moved his bus stop to be in front of my house. So that way he gets dropped off right in front of my house. And when you have that, you have the power to do that. That way you don't have to worry about, oh my God, is he going to be up the street walking aimlessly, or is he going to be right in front of my house?
So the thing is
just to adjust that real quick, Bob, yes, she does have her kids, and yes, she has meds. All right, but meds are not the issue. We're not talking about the meds. We're talking about the school being able to keep track of my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And this is more than one school that has lost track of one of my grandchildren. And now,
It's
granted,
frustrating.
my
Very
daughter
frustrating.
has 6 kids. If she lost one, she's got replacements. But I don't want to think about losing one of my grandchildren. I've got 6 of them. I love them all dearly.
It's terrifying because again, autistic kids are different. They're very different. He was having problems with the school bus driver because she was so loud and yelling at these other kids to where it became a huge problem. But you have full control over it. I instantly called an IEP meeting instantly, and they had to change it on the thing and change it to where it was dropped off in front of my house and picked up from my house. That was great. But anything with his anxiety or anything like that, it is taken into consideration when he's having a meltdown or whatever. And you can say, I want him to do OT twice a week. I want him to meet with the child psychologist twice a week. You have that power.
Right. Well, and so I requested last Thursday, I had requested a meeting to go over all of my kids because we just transferred in January to this particular school. And I had requested 504 meetings for my 2 kids with health problems, an OT meeting for my son with a learning disability. And then they wanted to schedule a 504 meeting, but over the phone said they were very much thinking that he would qualify for an IEP. I was like, okay, let's set the meeting for today.
Okay.
We'll go over everything. I requested that the director of the bus barn be present so I could try to get him on a sped bus. I requested that the principal, the vice principal, the special ed director, like all of these people be there. The only person there was his teacher, the counselor, and the vice principal.
That's usually how it starts. Now, if you have a medical diagnosis in writing that he has autism, there is no way they can deny that. That's what you always wanted, was to have that, sadly, but you want that in writing because that is your power to get your kid the best that he can get. And if he has that in writing and they're denying it, then they're going to get in some trouble if they do not accept that. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah. No, I have a friend who has kids with some medical needs that have immediately gotten IEPs, and I was like, I don't understand this. Like,
do you have, we have something with the Board of Disabilities with our county? Have you reached out to them? I don't know what county you live in, but if you Google it and put in Board of Disabilities for your county, I had the most wonderful team that did a Zoom call with me, and I told them everything of this sort. Like, how do I do this? What do I do? They're denying it. They help you. They're amazing. I don't know what county. I'm in Ohio, so I have no idea. And they give you a grant
hey,
too.
Allie,
Yeah.
Since it's just you, my daughter, and myself on panel right now,
I know this is your daughter. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry, I didn't even know who it was.
Put your email in chat.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. If
and
you want to give me a call,
sweetheart, can you see the can you see the private chat?
Yeah.
I see chat.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're able to see it because I thought you might have been on your phone.
I am on my phone, but I'm going to put my email in the private chat. And again, if you want to give me a call, because I know this is such a headache, and I felt so alone, like I had nobody to help me. They gave me so many resources that
will. See, that's the problem. First time people deal with this, they feel like they're so alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like one of the taboo subjects. You don't talk about this shit.
No.
Because
everyone's afraid to talk about this because, number one, especially on YouTube in this community, you can't say anything about your kids, whatever. This is real life stuff, but this is the stuff that I've gone through.
I title this stream "Serious Panel" because normally I'm just jovial and joking around. But this is something that's hitting close to home for me at this moment in time. And it's something that it's serious in nature, and joking around about this will not be tolerated.
No. There's just nothing to joke around about. Because trust me, I've been doing this since he was in kindergarten, and it is a process. But once you get this, you will feel so relieved because you have the power, and you will be able to, you make the decisions. If you feel like your kid is not is having trouble on the bus, or he's not getting escorted to classes the right way, you have the power to say, I want my child to be escorted from point A to point B, and they have to do it.
That was one of the things that I found in the research that I was doing this week. And when I brought it to their attention, like, I found articles, I quoted the website, the article, which part of the article and what law they immediately, the teacher was like, well, we don't deserve this abuse. And I'm like, I'm not the one being abusive.
It'd be like, I'm the parent with an autistic child, and he's not getting he's not getting the education he needs. He's not getting the protection he needs, because it is scary to send your child to a public school where they do have. Now, my child he's on the lower spectrum. He's not on, the higher spectrum. There's way different things, but still thinking of him going into a middle school next year, I am having, I can't even sleep at night because I'm like, no, this is so different.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So there are grants out there where you could send him to private schools that literally where, I don't know, your marital status or whatever, it doesn't matter, where you could get grants if you have that autism diagnosis, and it's out there. And if you email me, I'll give you my phone number. You can call me and I will give you every bit of knowledge that I have. I have a binder that's literally oh my God, it's so thick because I've done this all by myself. And it was so hard, but I finally did it all.
When he was first diagnosed, I had my suspicions since I brought him home from the hospital. He was the complete opposite of what my firstborn was. He was calm, he was quiet, he didn't fuss, he didn't. And then once he hit about 2 years old, he was pretty much nonverbal. He was grunting, screaming, crying.
You're on okay.
Yeah, he's a 2 on the spectrum.
Got it. Okay.
And so that it terrifies me a little more because he was borderline. The only reason they didn't put him on the spectrum is because he wasn't wetting himself. He could make it to the bathroom by himself.
All right. I mean, maybe other states are different. I don't know. But again, I didn't really know. I've heard of autism. I didn't really know much about it. But when he was little, 12 months old, there were certain things that was so fascinating that he would do. I'm like, my mom was like my full-time nanny. I go, why is he putting everything in order from small, his trains? They were from small, the smallest ones to the biggest ones. He would organize everything with colors. It was fascinating, but I'm like, however, he was delayed in speech. So I took him to speech therapy through the Cleveland Clinic when he was 2, and then occupational therapy because he wasn't able. He's left-handed, but still couldn't write. Couldn't do a lot of things like dress himself and everything. It was then I became aware of all of this. I'm like, okay, this is something different. It was just you as a mom, something's not right. You just know. Don't ever lose that, because just keep going with it. And I promise you, if you keep going with it, it will benefit you. I promise. It was I would cry. I would stay up at night. I'm like, this is my kid, So there are resources out there that will help you. It's hard to find them, but once they're there, they will guide you.
Oh yeah, I've looked into so many different things. I mean, just as a mom, I've taken so many precautions because I have a lot of kids. I have 6 kids. I take extra precautions everywhere I go with everything I do. My oldest is 10 and my youngest boy is 7. They have a baby monitor in their room because I never know when he's going to get up in the middle of the night and just wander around.
Sure. Trust me, I know what you mean. I had cameras everywhere, just in his book bag. He's had a cell phone since he was 3 years old, only because when I got divorced, I wanted to make sure I had a tracker on his phone so I knew where he was going with his dad, and because we didn't have the greatest divorce, but whatever. But now I have a again, when the bus is 20 minutes late, I'm like, oh my God, where are they? I have a backpack tracker. So as part of my phone plan, I put it in his book bag so I can see exactly where he is at all times. And I told him, because he's like, I don't want to get in trouble. I can't use my cell phone at school. I said, listen, you put that phone in your book bag. And if there is any reason where you don't feel comfortable, or you don't, if you go to the nurse and she says, go back to class, you go in the bathroom and you pick up that phone and you text me, we have certain codes, I will be there in 2 minutes. So he knows that. And that is the only reason he had a phone at such a young age.
See, and that was one thing that I was considering doing very soon, is getting a phone to go in his backpack. It's for emergency use only kind of situations, and trackers on his backpacks along with, at this point, the rest of his siblings, because I don't trust the school.
Yep. I did the same thing. And there are things, I don't know who you have a phone provider through, but they have these watches for kids where you don't have to wear the watch, but you could put it in your book bag, but you're able to call certain numbers like mom, dad, grandma, and it can call certain people for situations like that. And it has a tracker on it. I know Verizon has that. I don't know about other services, but they do. the little backpack tracker I have for him, it's part of my phone plan. It's considered a line, obviously, but I get to see where he's going all the time. Like if the bus is late or what's going on. Because I want to know how they don't communicate with you very well in public. They just don't. They don't tell you. Unless I have an IEP meeting or whatever, I have to rely on my 10-year-old to tell me what's going on in school. And it's very, very frustrating sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The school that my kids attend, well, actually just a lot of schools in our state just this week, they were put under lockdown because of several threats made all over the state. I didn't find out about it until my partner had sent me a screenshot saying, hey, this school in the next town over, which is like 5 minutes away, is under lockdown. And then a friend sent me a screenshot of another school, and I'm like, is my kid's school on lockdown?
Exactly. You just like, you really don't know. And even with like, he comes home with certain things and he has a very bad anxiety about writing, and he's in 4th grade, and that it's reading and writing, and he breaks down. And then I'm like, I feel so helpless sometimes, because then I'll go to school and he's like, I don't feel like, he'll be like, I was reading and I wasn't done yet, and they made me start writing. It's like stuff like that where I can jump in and say, what the hell are you doing? So I can demand certain things based on that. But I want to help you as much as I possibly can to get in with that school with whatever. If you have that diagnosis in writing, there is no reason that they're denied. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, that's the thing that's been puzzling me this entire time, because I was told all I needed was his diagnosis and writing, and I made sure I fought tooth and nail to get him. I drove 4 hours one way to get him to this specialist.
Yep, I did the same thing, and it was a bitch, and it was out of pocket because his insurance is covered by his father. The first one cost me $2,000, and it was not covered. I had to pay for that out of pocket by myself. The second one, where this doctor observed him for a couple of days, she's like, absolutely, like, why was this not in the diagnosis? So if you feel it's not right. However, I don't even know if it's the school itself. You need to go to the school board, and you need to submit that again and say, I want to know why this is not getting my child an IEP. He needs to get this right now.
Right. Like the frustration lies where my oldest, who has a learning disability, which was diagnosed just this year, how is he on an IEP? But my middle son, who's been diagnosed with autism since the beginning or mid 2020, the beginning of the school year 2020. How is this? It doesn't compute to me.
Not right at all. Like, they can get in big time trouble for that. So I know it's frustrating, but if I were you, even, I know you probably called 1,000 times and did everything you have to do. On Monday, maybe call the board and say, I'm not going to stop until I get an answer. I have a medical diagnosis of my child having autism. I want him to get evaluated right now by your school board. And that's kind of what I had to do. They were kind of ignoring it. I go, are you insane? Like, no, here's the diagnosis. Do something. And you have to push a little bit. And it sucks because you don't want to do that, but you'll do anything for your kid. That's exactly what I did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that there's going to be some kind of backlash or retaliation.
Well, who cares? You know, once you have that, again, you have the power. There is no reason, if you have that diagnosis, that your child does not have an IEP. Like I said, the ETR, he's doing his reevaluation now for the next 3 years, because that's how an ETR works. I'm sure you know that. Every 3 years, they do a reevaluation. So they did most of it. I have to go over all of it and say, well, I don't know if he's doing well with his cognitive skills or his handwriting. I want him to see the OT once a week. I can put that in there. So it's a big year for him. So I'm still evaluating it. My final conference is coming up in like a week or two. So it's tough, but it's frustrating. I bawled my eyes out many times because you see your kid and you're like, you feel helpless. Like, oh my God, he's not getting what he needs. What can I do? And you're doing everything you can.
All right, so I want to address this particular comment. Watcher says, this is why teachers are quitting, and no one wants to be teachers anymore.
That's not
so you're saying that they are quitting because we're trying to make them actually do their job?
Okay, that's enough, because
let's look at the flip side of this, or a different profession. Cops. We'll look at cops, because this is what I like to watch, is cops. So if you point out that a cop is doing wrong, that they're doing their job incorrectly, and they quit, that's great because it's going to save the taxpayers money. Because when cops do their job incorrectly, they get lawsuits filed against them, and the taxpayers pay for that settlement because they don't pay for it out of their own pocket, unless you somehow miraculously get them to lose qualified immunity. If they lose their qualified immunity, which is inherent in their job, then they pay out of their own pocket. So the ones that are doing wrong quit their jobs, everybody wins.
Well,
We're at this moment in time, we're looking at teachers doing their job correctly.
and sometimes public school teachers, they're not trained, okay, so to speak, to work with autistic kids. Okay. However, if you have a child that has autistic, they have to provide the education for your child. That's just how it goes. No matter what.
There's go ahead, sorry.
No, you're fine, but that's what they have to do. And it is frustrating because, again, I have to ask, like, are you getting individual time now with your teacher? He goes, no, we're in a group. Well, why? Why are you not getting that individual, time with your teacher when you're struggling? So it is very frustrating. But teachers, if they're quitting because of a situation like this, then maybe they shouldn't be a teacher in the first place. However, it's not their responsibility if they're just maybe they don't have a special ed background. Well, there are teachers that can step in and help your child with his or her education based off their needs, whether that teacher likes it or not. They get the individual care and time and education that they need. That's what the public schools have to offer. They just have to.
Yeah, this is why they make special ed programs. This is why they have specific classes, and public schools legally cannot use funding as an excuse to not have appropriate education. Fair and appropriate education.
They have, whether it's a certain bus or a certain whatever their needs are, they have to provide it no matter what. And if not, they can get in big time trouble if they're denying something.
Oh yeah, it can even boil down to just assistive technology.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have done an extensive amount of research this week, countless hours of just reading through articles, quoting articles, finding websites, reading through everything, down to like federal stuff, state stuff, county stuff, this particular school's policies.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard. It's a difficult process. I'll tell you that it was not easy. You do have to push and shove. But again, I'm not understanding if he or she has the medical diagnosis on paper from a doctor, they have to accept that. That's just how it goes. Because that's
all right. This particular comment, I'm sorry, that's bullshit. My daughter is not a helicopter parent. If you're trying to make that insinuation,
oh, absolutely not.
And saying that everyone feels that their child needs 100% of dedicated time. No, we're not saying that either. So obviously, you're either not listening or you're just in here to troll.
Probably.
And you make another stupid comment like that. Guaranteed, I'm going to time you out and give you 5 minutes to think about your next comment.
Just don't even read stuff like that. It's probably a troll. Right? They're trying to get under your skin. Just don't even listen to it. Because again, you're the mom. You know your kids. You know what they need. Don't listen to anybody else. And that's what I have to keep telling myself is I'm not going to stop here. I'm not listening to any of these people. I'm going to keep going and going. And once I finally pushed my way through, again, I got that diagnosis that I needed, just like you have in your hands.
Yep. I mean,
you keep going with it, and you go to the board. You go to the board of the school district or whatever you have to do. And I know it's frustrating. It takes a lot of time, but you'll get what you need. Just keep pushing and don't give up.
I will not give up. I'm not by any means a helicopter parent. I have 6 kids. There's no possible way for me to be a helicopter parent to 6 children. That being said, I don't neglect my children.
What's a helicopter parent? I don't know what that means.
Someone who hovers over their children 24/7 and makes sure that everything.
I have one little boy, and I'm not a helicopter or anything. I look at my kid and I see for myself as a parent what he needs, and if he's not getting it, then I'll go to where I have to go. So
Allie,
That's just
do
how
me
it
a
goes.
favor. Put a comment in chat. Just anything. Couple question marks, something, a period, something.
Put
Just
something in chat. Okay.
put
Oh wait.
anything in chat.
Okay. Wait. How do I do this? How do I write in chat if I'm in here? I see the private chat or the other chat.
No, regular chat.
Shit. I don't know how I do that.
Are you
The
on your phone?
It says comments. I see the comments coming through, but I don't see a place where I can write anything.
Are you on your phone?
I could do it from my other account. Hold on, I could do it if that matters. They're kind of the same. I just have two different phones. But hold on, let me find you.
I'm telling you to do that so I can add you as a mod because you apparently ain't out to get me.
Oh, okay, no, okay. Here, I have two. Here we go. DFK. I know you're. Here we are. I'm gonna put hello. Here we go. Hello.
You've made it very obvious that you're not out to get me.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Again,
Aussie Angel? Are
I
you
just-
Aussie Angel?
No, I'm Rain.
Oh, okay.
One name is
Oh,
like
Rainbow Alley. Okay.
Valley. I kind of got
I
out
was
of
gonna say, wait a minute. Aussie Angel's already a mod.
I've kind of backed out of all of this because of
Okay.
I don't do doxing and anything, and I got doxed and whatever after that. I'm like, you know what? This is it. I'm like, my blood pressure does not need to be this high over something that used to be fun. So, however, if I heard this, I was, kind of scrolling through because I like to listen to streams if I'm doing something, and I heard, I'm sorry, what was your first, or what is your name?
Surviving 6.
Okay. I heard her talking about school and autism. I'm like, wait a minute. This is something that is close to home with me. I'm like, I'll step up. I don't care because I know how it goes. It's hard. It's very hard. And I've
I
been
mean,
And
yeah,
everyone feels like they're alone. They
Yeah,
feel like
it's a very alienating process.
for sure. You feel like you have nobody to help you. Again, my ex-husband has no part of this. He doesn't even have the least bit of what I do on a daily basis for
Mine is the same way. My ex was very against me getting our son evaluated or diagnosed.
in denial. Like, what are you talking about? Am you kidding me? So I do all the autism appointments, all this IEP stuff. I've done the research. I have the binder. He has no clue. He was in denial for so long. I go, get over yourself. Like, if you don't see it, then you have a problem.
Exactly. That's kind of
real fast. I'll do it myself. I don't need him. So I did it all myself. My mom helped me a lot too. However, I found the right doctor over time. It took a little bit. And that doctor itself, did you tell your doctor's office that you're having problems getting this? Because they'll act on it real fast. If you're getting denied by your school board and you have a doctor that diagnosed your child, they will help you and they'll say, they'll step in and say, what is the problem here? They take action real fast.
So the particular doctor's office that I went through when I got him diagnosed, I am no longer going to, just unfortunately because of billing issues with my ex's insurance.
Oh, I get it. Trust me.
No,
But if you have the document still, it doesn't matter. If you have that in writing from a doctor, I don't see the reason why they would ever deny you. So again, you have that diagnosis and you just need to keep that and take that with you wherever you go. Start with.
Oh yeah. So I fully intended to take it with me today. I happened to forget it because I was writing with someone else and I usually just kind of keep it on hand. But regardless of that fact, they have it on file. I gave it to his first school to take a copy of. I wouldn't let them keep it because they wanted to keep it. I was like, nope, you need to take a copy. I will keep the original. I mean, it's just a very alienating process.
I have a printer, but my scanner, my accountant actually has a scanner because that document is very, very long. I took it. Some people have like these scanners, like printers that are like high tech. They can document for you and email you a copy of it so you have it on hand at all times. I would recommend doing that, or maybe like a FedEx or UPS store. They can scan your document and send it into an email format to you so you can send that to anybody you want to, anytime you want to.
Yeah.
Yes, you can
do it on a daily basis, and you just get it in a printed form, and then you hand them a copy. Make sure you never give them your last copy, but make sure you hand them one just so they have it.
Yeah, get an email copy of it so it's scanned and it's emailed, and you can use that to send to the Board of Disabilities. That's what I have is our county It says the County Board of Disabilities, and they are a good resource. Like, they will do a Zoom call with you so fast, and they will help you with all of this. They're wonderful. I don't know what county you live in. However, like I said, if you email me, I put that in the private chat. I'll even put my phone number in there. I'll even help you research what county you were to go to, because that's what I had to do. It was like, they didn't tell me this stuff. I had to find it myself. You know?
Hey, Allie.
Yeah.
Allie.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide that you're going to put your private number in chat, make sure you would give me a heads up so I can make sure there's nobody in the basement at that time.
Okay,
Because
I'm looking at
if there's somebody lurking in the basement, then they'll have access to it as well.
I think everyone has my phone number anyway.
Can I address this comment?
Aussie Angel, why would an autistic child need a body cam? Because my daughter has 6 grandkids, or
I have 6
children. And the middle of the 3 sons is autistic. The school that he attends lost track of him just recently.
I would flip the fuck out.
Oh, I did.
That aside, but want to see how he's being treated. There's certain legal stuff in place to where how he should be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking that they're failing miserably on providing the care that he is required, that he is adjudicated by law, that he should be receiving, and they are failing. So that is the premise of that.
It's frustrating. Yes, it is. It's very frustrating. And sometimes it takes a long time to get your way through. But once you do, because I was there. I'm like, I literally couldn't handle it anymore. Like, what do I do? But finally, when I got that document in writing from the doctor, that changed everything. So why they're denying that is very questionable. I don't understand.
Does he have an IEP?
So that being said, I scheduled a meeting with the school. Actually, it happened today. They were trying to push a 504, and like every other school has done, and I denied it because he does not fit the qualifications of a 504. He fits the qualifications of an IEP, and they're
an IEP?
No, he does not. They're telling me that I need to put a 504 in place, and then they'll move forward with the process of getting. Ooh, are you okay?
Shouldn't need a 504 to get an IEP though.
That's what I told them.
I'd be like, no, that's not, like, my child is not. That's not.
But that's how government works. They've got to put extra steps in there to actually get what you freaking need.
I would request another meeting with them. And don't feel like you're being pushy or whatever. Who cares? This is why you pay taxes. Who cares?
Hey, sweetheart, pretend you're like some other woman. Don't be yourself. Request another meeting and pretend to not be yourself.
No, it's hard because you're like, I don't want to annoy these people. But the hell, if they're not listening to you, say, here. Now, when you had this meeting today, did you bring up and show them this document?
Understand, this is my daughter. Mm-hmm. Even though she was born 16 years before I first laid eyes on her mother, she is definitely my daughter. She is not soft-spoken. She's very upfront. She's very straightforward. She don't pull no punches. And people don't really want to know what she's got to say, so don't ask her how she's doing, because she'll fucking tell you.
I know.
Especially when there's an issue, an underlying issue, then you're coming from a position where you should have some reasonable capability of addressing and correcting, because she will damn sure tell you that you were failing at your job miserably.
Oh, I did tell them that today. I absolutely
they don't even know
what
to do. If it's not in what they're used to, sometimes they don't know like the laws behind it and everything. Maybe they're not educated on this. However, if you feel that the meeting did not go how you wanted it to today, again, did you show them or tell them that he was medically diagnosed by a doctor?
Well, they even quoted in the 504 that they were trying to get me to sign from the other school, which I've never signed off on a 504 because I don't feel like he qualifies for the 504. They're like, oh, he has a medical diagnosis, and I said yes, he has a medical diagnosis of autism. you guys are doing wrong. And then by his teacher, his classroom teacher, accused me of being abusive. And I was like,
okay, well, she can go screw herself. Don't worry about her. She's in the background.
yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
that's not okay. That
No,
I'm not being abusive. You are gaslighting me into trying to get me to comply to what you want. I'm not going to comply to what you want me to. I'm going to push for my child and his rights.
call the school board, not the school. Call the school board on Monday and say, I want answers. I have a medical diagnosis. I want a meeting for an IEP right away. And they have to do that. And if they don't, they're going to get in a lot of trouble. I can't see them denying that. And again, if you have this from a doctor, they can't for that. So don't be afraid to be pushy. I know you feel like you're like, oh my God, I'm doing this again. You feel like you're doing it over and over again. Don't feel like that. This is your power. You can do this.
And see, I just this week. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to adjust chat for a minute. Cindy Renee, with what you just said and the comment that followed right behind you with Peachy Rider, yes, Cindy Renee, shut the hell up. If this panel had not been being productive like it's being right now for my daughter and her current situation, I would invite you on panel. But right now, absolutely fucking not. Just shut the hell up. Let this shit get out there.
See, the thing is, it's not just educational or helpful to me. There are plenty other parents out there going through the same exact situation.
And
it's a very educational topic right now.
Because people don't know what to do, especially if you're a single mom. You don't
there's what she said. That's what she said.
Oh, yeah, and see, that's the thing, is that I didn't say I was going to do that. It was a topic that was brought up, and that's what we were originally discussing. I never said I was going to do that. That being said, most schools nowadays...
Chat, I don't know who's in the chat. I don't care. Don't listen to anyone. Unless they're giving you guidance. There's going to be nice people out there that will say, hey, reach out to me. I can help you. Those are the people you want to talk to. Anyone that does not know what you're going through, don't
sweetheart, sweetheart, do not listen to anybody, no matter what the fuck they say, no matter how well they sugarcoat shit, no matter how silver-tongued they are. Don't listen to any of them. Just listen to me.
Like here, I'm looking to be right. To talk to. She looks like she's taught special ed. She can guide you. Let's see here. This my two beagles seems to know what they're talking about when someone says, does he have an IEP? Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Knowledge of it. Those are the people you want to talk to. If there's any other people saying stupid shit, don't listen to them. I mean, it's just dumb. If they're gonna troll like this, that's ridiculous. Okay, don't listen to those people. Listen to the people that want to guide you and help you.
Well, the people that are making asinine comments, they don't bother me. I've heard much worse things by people much closer to me.
Yeah, don't even.
Hold on, I stepped away for a minute.
Don't listen to other people.
Did you say something about my two beagles?
Oh yeah, but listen to what my two beagles has to say, because they were asking about whether or not he had an IEP, and seems to have knowledge of the situation or some kind of knowledge.
I taught public schools for 30 years. I can tell you what to do. Hit me up on
Okay, well, I'm not sure what's being said about my two beagles, but my two beagles is a managing moderator on my channel.
And then
oh yeah, no, I know who they are. I've been part of enough of your live streams to kind of have a sense of who is usually there and who to listen to.
I really don't think that my two beagles is out to hurt me or anybody that is on any of my panels. So if something is being said about my two beagles, yeah, then it brings questions to mind.
Right. Well, that being said, guys, it is kind of getting late, and I got to get these hobgoblins in bed.
Yes, I mean, it was nice talking to you. I put my email in the chat. I have a Discord. I don't know what it is. I don't know the numbers and stuff. I'm sure I don't know how to do that, but my email is in there. I think you can see it in there. If not, I'll contact you. I'll send him a private message or whatever and give you my number. Okay. And reach out. I'll be willing to give you any knowledge I have.
Yeah, absolutely. I saved your email into my folder, and I will shoot you an email probably tomorrow sometime.
I'll give you any information I have and anything I can guide you with. I'll even show you some of the stuff I have that I had to dig for that I got now. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Allie?
I'll stay part of the chat, Dad.
Allie. Okay, she poofed before I could even get it out there. I want to say thank you to Allie so much for coming
Yes.
up. Very insightful, lot of information handed out freely, no charge to my daughter, someone I'd give my life for.
It's very much appreciated. It really is. Thank you.
Everybody that showed up in chat for this serious stream, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea what it means to me. I don't often do serious streams, but this is one of them. Give it a half hour. I'll start a normal stream. I'll start another shit show. I'm okay with that. But this stream was serious. There was something that I needed to talk about, something that concerns me, something that hits close to home, and that's what this was about. All right. So I want to thank everybody for showing up for this. 30 minutes, I'll start a normal shit show. I'm good with that. But this stream has to end at this point just so it stays pure. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Thank you, Dad,
thank you so much. Love and appreciate y'all. And oh crap! Brand new every day, sweetheart. Thank you so much for coming up on panel.
Thank you, Dad, hosting.
I always love having you on my streams. I liked it even better when you were sitting by my side during the panel where we were both on the same account. But just having you on my panels enlightens my day. Probably going to come see you and the kids tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
Don't tell them that.
I won't.
Let that be a surprise to them.
Okay.
All right. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Thank you so much for coming and joining me, spending some time out of your day to come visit me. That's awesome. Lets me know that you care. Good night, everyone.